Matthew Porter, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.
Chief Executive of the Professional Darts Corporation. This is the 5th time that the World Series has come to Copenhagen.
Yeah.
Is there anything unique you think about coming to Copenhagen and having a World Series event here in Denmark?
I think every year that we come here, this event exceeds itself with the atmosphere that the fans create. This is definitely one of the best atmospheres we have anywhere. You know, you saw that last night on Friday, and you will again tonight. It shows the passion for the sport in the region, not just Denmark, but across Scandinavia and the Nordics, because there's a lot of fans who travel across borders to come and watch the event, which is great. It's a real favourite stop for a lot of people.
I know that either you have already had a meeting with Michael or you will have it later. What are the key talking points between the PDC and the PDC Nordic and Baltic right now?
I mean, what Michael Friedendahl and Dean Moss and their team are doing here at the moment is really positive. You can see by the growing number of tour card holders from the region that the standard's improving. The key thing is that we keep driving it forward. You know, we want to have higher entry numbers. We obviously want the standard to continue rising. We want the relationship with the JDC and have more academies set up across the region to encourage more younger players to play. But darts is heading in an upward trajectory here in Scandinavia, and we want that to continue.
So it sounds like you are happy with the relationship that you have established with the PDC Nordic and Baltic.
Yeah, it's a long-standing relationship. You know, they've been an affiliate of ours for a long time. The Nordic and Baltic tour, under different guises, has been going for a decade or so, and it's an important part of our jigsaw, for global development. It's not going anywhere.
Hopefully not. What would you say is the key points for the PDC Nordic and Baltic going forward? How would you like the region to develop in the coming years?
Look, I think, what I touched upon a minute ago, really, we want to see higher entry numbers. We want that everywhere. I think they should aspire to have 128 players at every event, have a complete draw like that. And that will naturally end with more players, or continue with more players then qualifying for major tournaments and becoming tour card holders, competing on the Euro Tour, and also on maybe like the Challenge Tour, Development Tour. It's a ladder to climb one rung at a time. It's taken 10 years to get to this point. There's been some hiccups along the way, obviously COVID and a few other bits and pieces, but we're in a good place now. The relationship's strong. They've got some good ideas, and we're on the same page as to how we can keep growing it.
And a lot of the players are hoping for higher prize money in the PDC Nordic and Baltic. They are hoping for more opportunities. But what you are saying is that you also want something from the players. You want them to invest even more of their time and even more players to go to these events.
Well, players very rarely hope for lower prize money, is one thing I've learned. But look, obviously, we want to increase the prize money. We're very conscious of the fact that this is an expensive tour to play. This is not a cheap part of the world to live in, travel in. We're very aware of that. So we will work with PDC Nordic and Baltic to try to maximise the opportunities for the players. Is there are perhaps chances for more qualification spots at major events? It's a work in progress, and it's something we want to get to. I mean, when you mention about players investing more money, we're not asking individual players to invest more money that are already playing. We're trying to get more players onto the tour.
Yeah.
We're not saying to somebody who already plays on the tour, we want you to spend twice as much money. We're saying we want twice as many players on the tour. But the cost of living or the cost of travelling here isn't really something we can do much about, but the prize money is.
Very good point. You have been to Copenhagen with the World Series for the last 5 years. Before that, the Euro Tour was here 2 times. Looking at not just Denmark, but the Nordic and Baltic region as a whole, do you think that the region is ready for more than just one PDC TV event?
I think so, yeah. I think if not 2026, then hopefully 2027. But we are always challenged by our calendar. There's not really much room in the PDC calendar for many more events. So we would like to do something else here. We have a couple of ideas that we will work on, but the calendar is extremely busy, so it's not going to be the easiest situation. But we're hopeful that we can increase the amount of content that we deliver in the region.
And surely you understand that then I have to ask you, what are you thinking about exactly? Is it a Euro tour? Are you going to other countries than Denmark?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a second event in Denmark. I don't think that would be fair to have two events in Denmark and none in other countries. But there's options for Euro Tour, World Series, something else. We wouldn't close the book on anything. It's about taking the right event to the right city.
All right. And you were just talking about the expansion of the PDC World Championship, the Grand Slam of Darts. First of all, congratulations on the 1 million prize fund for the winner for the World Championship. That's a great achievement. But the Grand Slam of Darts will go from 32 to 48 players, the World Championship from 96 to 128. Are you talking about or thinking about allocating some of these spots for the Nordic and Baltic region, even more than you have been doing so far? Yeah,
I mean, we've been quite public in the fact that the spots will be spread globally. So in the same way that we're looking at other regions, and we're looking at this one too. I mean, we will make an announcement at the appropriate time, but it's fair to say that we want to increase the global profile of both events.
Yeah, that's a yes if you ask me then. Hopefully.
I'm not asking you. You're asking me.
That's true.
Yeah.
But also, while you're expanding, there's obviously a very thin line between sporting and financial considerations and initiatives. How a lot of people will be saying that the PDC sometimes are going too far. For example, allocating more spots for the top 16 players on the Euro Tour and so on. Do you ever think that there's a danger that you are taking too little consideration about the sporting considerations in the sport?
No, I don't, to be honest with you. We brought a challenge tour in, we brought a development tour in, we brought a women's series in, we have partnerships with affiliate organisations around the world. These events are, with respect, not for the elite players in the world. They cost us millions of pounds a year to stage. If we were only interested in the top 16, we wouldn't do any of that. We would say, go and learn your darts somewhere else, and when you're ready, go to Q School. But we're not doing that. We're investing in the structure of the sport. It's only right that the elite players are the ones who are rewarded. And the reason for that is because they are the ones the public want to see. You have to differentiate between people who live and breathe darts 24/7, go on social media a lot, talk about darts a lot on social media, but don't see the bigger picture. Ask the thousands of people who buy tickets for events, whether they're here in Denmark, whether they're in Germany, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, wherever. Ask them who they want to watch play, and then you will have your answer. The main thing is for anybody to know that if you get into our system through any route, global route, development route, Q School, wherever your route is into our system, if you're good enough, the rewards are there for you. And if you're not good enough, then there's still some rewards and you still have the opportunity to try to become good enough. And the key thing for us is to ensure that the pathway from entering the PDC system to lifting the Sid Waddell Trophy at Alexandra Palace is there.
Yeah.
I think with the Euro Tour structure, if that had been the structure from day one, nobody would have complained about it. But because the Euro Tour structure has evolved as the tour has evolved over the last decade, some people didn't like it. But what you have in place now is a structure that gives opportunities to other players, but still gives the primary rewards to the elite players. And that's pretty much what happens in every sport.
I think this is very interesting because what you often see in companies or sporting organizations is that while you are expanding and you are making a lot of people happy, you are also making them want even more. Surely there must be a lot of challenges going forward in the PDC. What do you consider?
Yeah, I mean, look, don't forget, darts is a very young sport commercially and professionally. Probably professionally is a better word than commercially. Darts is a very young sport, 20, 25 years really. There was some growth of darts in the 80s, it fell away. It's grown back in the 2000s, and it's only really the last few years that it's become big levels. A lot of other sports are 100 years old. They've had chance to change their formats, change their rules, sort their rankings, everything like that. That's all happened in time in a lot of other sports. As we grow from being 95% UK based to much more global, many more arms or branches on our tree, many more routes for people to come into the PDC system, there will be more changes because the levels will change, the priorities will change, the strength and where players are coming from will change, the opportunities that are available for players will change, and it all has to find its route. You know, so that will happen, and it would be wrong of us not to change because we're still growing in that level too. You know, come back and ask us when darts is as old as the PGA or as old as the ATP tennis. You know, we're a young sport, so we have to react to the global growth of the game that's going on at the moment.
And would you consider that the biggest challenge for the PDC right now is that to make the players and audience aware that some things takes time?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's our biggest challenge because I would hope that people would actually understand that, even if they have voiced their opinion first or whatever. You know, people must surely understand that things take time to evolve. The biggest challenge for us is the calendar. The biggest challenge for us is 52 weeks in the year. You know, so if you look at golf and tennis, they often have two elite level events being played at the same time. The darts, I don't feel darts is strong enough to do that at the moment. I think if we went to one city with half our top players and another city with half our top players, we'd have two sets of people who would feel shortchanged. But in time, darts will get to a level where we will have no choice but to do that. It's just when that comes about.
That will be very exciting to see. Matt, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming to Denmark.
Thanks for having us.
And hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of the night.
I'm sure we will.
Great. Thank you.